Hi, I'm George Zelios with Fine Scale Miniatures, and you are watching What's Neat This Week with Ken Patterson.
All right.
Look at all the cool models on the table tonight.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
And we even have a train.
Is this a train show?
Is this a show about trains?
Well, we didn't have a train, so I put a
I
train
always
out.
wanted to do a show about trains.
I heard they're cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Richard Bianca running camera tonight.
Yeah.
We are.
We're always ready.
It takes training to do a train of
James
train
Regier,
show
Joshua
about trains.
Surefire
listen.
Barton.
He's giving us a countdown.
Yeah,
He is.
giving
Oh,
us
he
a
is.
countdown. You gotta pay
Oh,
attention to these things, Ken.
Gotta pay attention.
All right, yell us a countdown.
I'm not really blonde. I just pretend like that on a show.
And 3, 2, 1.
Oh, you want me to do it? All right, let's start over. All right.
No,
all
it's
right.
okay.
We're
no,
good.
I've got this. Let's just do
Are you
this.
sure?
I'll open
Yeah.
it.
Are you
Yeah.
sure?
3,
2, 1.
The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Additional support is provided by Spring Creek Model Trains, your destination for model trains. Stop in and say, wow. Check out their website at springcreekmodeltrains.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast.
This is the What's Neat This Week, show number 173 for October 16th, 2021. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat show over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And guys, this is the best hobby in the world, and this is going to be a good show tonight. We're all on our game, rock and roll. Tonight I've got sitting with me some of the best people in the hobby that I love working with every day. Starting right next to me, I've got Sugarfire Joshua Barton.
What's up, everybody?
Joshua, it's awesome. Thank you very much for running that show last week. I wasn't quite in the mood to do so, but you made it look easy.
I had a great time, and any other time you want to just bow out, you
job.
can have me pop in.
Thank you. On the other side of me, I've got Mike, buddy. Hey, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
Mike, I love it when you're here. Your vehicles are amazing, and you've got quite a following of people that really respect what you do.
Thank you.
On the other side of us, we've got the very respected James Regier. Hey, James.
Hi, everybody.
Good to have you, and I think you're going to talk about some neat stuff tonight, too. Starting out on the list, I just want to say that a lot of you folks have been contacting Greg Sutherland down there at GNL Robotics, Summerland, and fantastic. A lot of you guys have purchased 3D printers, and he is helping the folks that have done that with setup, and a lot of other people have contacted him, and they're very interested in it. So GNLRoboticsUSA.com, thank you very much for helping us support the show. And I want to start out by saying there have been a lot of people in the past that have asked us, at the beginning of the show, you always say, this show is supported by viewers like you. And we've had folks that do support the show. We've had just love show up in the mailbox, believe it or not, and it's quite surprising when that happens. We don't have a Patreon account like a lot of folks do, and I didn't want to do it that way. But you can go to kenpatterson.com and or look at our What's Neat This Week Facebook page. And on there you will find the answer to what many viewers of the What's Neat in Model Railroading show have expressed, the desire to help us support the best hobby in the world. And you can do this. This is an opportunity now where your support would be greatly appreciated. Just simply click on the button and you can do just that. You'll find that button on my homepage at kenpatterson.com, and or there is also a link on the What's Neat This Week Facebook page. So thank you very much for your support. We love you guys out there, and we welcome anybody who wants to show off their models and come here and be on studio set to contact us, and we'd be more than happy to express and show off some of the best work that you guys have got to offer. That's something that we don't do often because so many friends come and just join us on the show. But again, this is your show made by us for you, simple model railroaders, just us. I know that sounds absolutely corny, but it's the truth.
It is.
Now, we have got a lot of different things to talk about. This show is about new news, and there is some new news. My father, Ken Bird, that you saw on the RPM show, he is hosting the 9th annual train show, and this is going to be in Sedalia. It's called the Sedalia Rails Train Show, November 6th, 2021. It's at the Liberty Park Convention Hall from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. They'll have operating layouts, rides, prizes, foods, just your typical train show. Adults admission is $5. Children under 12 are free. My dad wanted me to give a shout out to the show. He's been asking me for weeks to do that. So Ken, rock and roll, good luck with the show. Also, we want to talk about Spring Creek model trains. You know, they have been helping us support the show, and I want to do this right away. They support their community, the small town of Deshler, Nebraska, and they are having a homecoming celebration for, I guess that's the high school out there.
Yeah.
And I've got that in
Deshler
notes.
High School,
I've
yeah.
got a lot of pictures.
Deshler Dragons.
The Deshler
Deshler
Dragons.
And their colors are purple, gold, and white.
And there's a
Yeah.
picture here of the storefront where they've
Yeah.
actually decorated the store.
Yeah, they wrote the colors out on the store.
Uh-huh.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
This
Yeah.
celebration is in celebration of the Deshler High School homecoming next week. Our school's mascot, like Joshua said, is the Dragons. And you can see one of the photos, I just showed it to you on the screen, of their store windows decorated for the Dragon cheerleaders and for homecoming. And the fact is, the community support is definitely one thing that they love doing in a small town like that. But Spring Creek model trains, I ordered 2 locomotives from them this week. I saw the engines that Daniel had on the show last week, and I ordered the exact same locomotives, a Union Pacific GP 15 and an GP 40. And the 15 is that radio-controlled unit.
Yeah.
So I was happy to place that order. You can check out their website at www.springcreekmodeltrains.com. Wonderful family. Mike, Jeff, Deb, and Dave Zucker. They run that business. It's a wonderful business. And the internet is something they've just started doing in the last year and a half or 2 years since the last time we did a show out there. And that has worked out really well. They've also created a promo code for the show, whereas they will give free shipping on any purchases over $250 in the lower 48 states. Use a promo code WNTW1021. And this sale ends 10/31/21, so the end of this month on Halloween, I guess. But very good. What's Neat code? That's kind of cool. WNTW1021 for you folks that want free shipping on your orders at Spring Creek Model Trains out in Deshler, Nebraska. Richard Bianca is running camera for us. I mentioned that tonight. It's his first time, and I'm telling you what, I know you're going to do a great job because that is something that you are good at, is the video and photography end of things. Now, Mike, you brought some really cool models tonight, and I too am going to describe and talk about some vehicles.
Well, why don't you go first? Tell me about yours.
I can do that. These are some models that I want to say that I built, 20 years ago. This is sometime around 1991. Or 1999, I should say.
Okay.
And I used the Scotch tape method on these models. That's what Mike Buddy taught us all to do, because in all those years, this has never yellowed and it's never gone bad. And I'm going to start out by saying that I use a lot of prototype books whenever I do research to build these vehicles. And these vehicles are alloy forms vehicles that I'm going to show you tonight on the show. But I do use a lot of different books. I'm showing a photograph right now of some of the books, some of the reference material that I have used in the past. Now, the alloy forms kits used to come in a box, and sometimes they come in clear packages. I don't know if these kits are still available. Are they? Do you know, Mike?
I don't know. I think they might have been taken over by somebody else now, but I think they are still available.
I will check the Walther's cover and double check on that just to inform
I know
you
you
guys.
can get them on eBay. That's where I got the last couple of mine.
Right. And so here I've got a photograph of some of the parts of one of the kits. These are white metal parts. So what you generally have to do is take a file or sandpaper and sand off all the molding edges, because these are made in a spin caster, where they spin the model around in a rubber mold, and the gravity forces the lead or the alloys into the outside of the mold, creating then the parts. It's very different from injection molding, but it works under the principle of gravity, as a centrifuge gravity, as opposed to injection pushing. Now here's a photograph of a younger Ken Patterson working on these models, and I think this might have been part of an article that I did for Model Railroad Ding, if you remember that magazine that ran some time ago. Now this photograph shows me putting the packing tape, the clear tape, onto the dump truck that you see on the table here, and you simply cut it to the shape of the window. Actually, you just put the tape on the window and take a razor blade and cut it as it's on the model around the edge grommet of where the trim would be on the window, and it stays, and it doesn't yellow, and it stays good, as you can see, for over 20 years.
Wow.
Now, a lot of times I
amazing.
like to use the Prager truck driver set that's in the Walthers catalog. Prager makes specifically a truck driver set of figures, and those guys look good. I buy 5 or 6 boxes of those. I use those for my locomotive engineers, and I also use them in all of my vehicles, my trucks and things like that, because they look fantastic.
Now, do these figures come with all the necessary amputations and all the stuff that...
No, you've got to cut them, but in the
Okay.
case of the Alloy Forms vehicle, it appears that I did cut off one set of legs for the one person, but sometimes you've got to modify them from the waist on up so they
Right.
look correct in the vehicle.
Right.
Now I'm going to start out with the blue dump truck, and you don't have to zoom in on these vehicles. I'm showing slides of each one of these. I shot these on a light table back then. This blue dump truck, again, is an Alloy Forms vehicle. I added a rock load to it. I put MV lenses in it. I used all the mirrors that actually came. These models come with photo etched parts, and of course I put the drivers and little boards on the side to add more volume to the dump bed on this one.
That's neat.
And like Mike Buddy's taught us, you always got to put license plates on all of your vehicles, so you want to be thorough with that. The second vehicle is a smaller brown truck, and I'll show you a slide of this. This one I put a white gravel load in. I used some nice tires on that one. In fact, all of these vehicles, I did not use the Alloy Forms wheels that came with them. I used other wheels, and I don't remember what the brand name was. Sometimes I rob wheels off of other vehicles, just whatever looks good at the time. But the next truck I'm going to talk about is this black dump truck. And this one's different in that a lot of the vehicles that run on the road, and I'm going to show you a slide of this first, you can see it from the slide that I put a tarp on it.
Right.
And it's got a roller on it and a bar on it so that as the driver loads the vehicle, he can then pull the tarp back. This bar lets it roll across the back top of the bed to prevent any material from flying out and hitting vehicles as it drives on the highway. It's really a cool feature, and it's just some little extra added part that I added. Plus the sideboards again. I added 2 sets of boards, scale lumber from one of the lumber companies that make the wood, and it just makes the vehicle look just that much better. The other 2 vehicles, and I don't know what types of trucks these are. Do you know?
Are those Max?
Those look
are
like
Max.
Max. Those are Max.
I'm going to start out with the yellow one, and I'm going to shoot B-roll of this one. I two-toned painted this one in yellow and black. On the back side of it, I always like to put some cables on it to represent the cable lines that would go from the cab to the trailer's back. It's just an extra added detail that looks good. Some of these vehicles, I sometimes put brake lines on them just to add more interest to the vehicle.
Now, what do you use for the cable lines?
I just took some very fine brass wire. In fact, it's the stuff that comes on the spool. It wasn't straight brass stock. It was that stuff that you get, that copper wire you get on the spool or brass, and you use that. And the last truck is this maroon vehicle. I'm showing you a photograph of this one standing next to a figure. On this vehicle, I added a drive shaft to it because the drive shaft makes it look interesting, and it's one of the detail parts that just makes the model look that much better. And I took great pride in building these models, and I wanted to share these because Mike is always showing amazing models. And back in the days when I used to model, I could build some pretty good models, I think. So Mike, go ahead and tell us what you got tonight.
Well, continuing in the construction theme here, this cement mixer is actually an Athearn cement mixer, chassis and frame and everything, and it's got my own cab on there, which is a modified majorette cab of the Chevy from around late 1960s, early 70s. And I had photo etch grills made for that, and it's got a weathered red finish on it. And the same goes for this truck here. This is a classic Metalworks. It was a Ford, 59 Ford or 1960 Ford stake truck. And again, I used the back part of it and the frame and put my own cab on there, which is a 3D print from Jens Jan at Mad About Cars.
I love that guy. We had him on a What's Neat show once, didn't we?
Yeah.
He came all the way from Germany and came out here and visited with us. And as I recall, if you watch that show, we made him appear with a magic wand.
Yeah, what'd you do with that teleporter device that you had?
That was cool.
Yeah.
We had fun. That's back when we really got creative about making the What's Neat show. That was fun.
You know, here's another one of his cabs with a step side bed and I got it decorated from Missouri Pacific Railroad. I put the spare tire on the side there, a side mount, which was a big feature in the 60s and 70s. Did the same thing on this blue truck. This is a classic metalworks, I think a 55 Chevy, and I kind of detailed out the front of it and put Plano mirrors on these. That really adds a lot of detail. And these trucks can look really nice if you spend a little bit of time detailing them and, yeah, adding license plates and stuff. So
That is very cool,
Nice.
dude.
They're beautiful
Very cool,
trucks.
yeah.
thanks.
Now, Mike, did you put Scotch tape window on all those vehicles?
Yes, except these two, I actually made a form and vacuum formed the windshields myself.
Really?
I bought a vacuum forming machine from what's that?
Micromark?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I've had that for probably about 5 years, and
Wow.
I've done that on several models, but it takes a lot of work to make the buck to stretch that clear plastic over in order to make it fit just right, so you can snap it in there without any,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But it turned out really nice.
Yeah,
so.
really nice.
You told me you were on the fence on a 3D printer. Did you get one yet?
No, not yet.
I think I'm going to get one next month because I do want to do a segment and run it in January or February's What's Neat on how to use these new
Well,
resin
Right.
printers.
No, I've
I'm
been
very
thinking of-
interested in that.
I've been thinking about it. I may be able to make you a deal on my 3D resin printer because I would like the bigger format of that Photon X for sure. But
There you go.
I know
Yeah.
another guy that bought that larger size, and he's going to buy the the dryer and the bath or something for it.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
other
yeah.
unit that you
Yeah.
need to use.
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah, that's the wash and cure
Right.
for it. Yeah.
He's
yeah.
going to help me 3D print the doors for my Vertipack. They're probably about this 1/25th scale Vertipack. It's going to be like my one.
Oh, nice.
And
Yeah.
he already drew up the doors, and we had them printed at Shapeways once, and they
Yeah.
were all right, but they needed a lot of work. So, but things are really advanced with this
Yeah.
resin
Oh,
printer
yeah.
and everything. So
Well,
he's really anxious to try and reprint that thing and see how much better we can make it come
Very
out.
cool.
So-
Yeah.
This is going to be our new thing. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
about it. We're all going to be getting into this all at once, and this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
James, you got some cool stuff to talk about tonight? What
Well,
do you
yeah,
got?
you know, the past couple weeks we've been moving out of our house
Right.
because it's going to be completely rebuilt, and so this will mean that we'll have 4 new bedrooms upstairs. That means that a lot of the stuff that's presently in the basement will be moved upstairs, so I will have space for a layout finally. And in the meantime, I've been trying to figure out what to do with my workbench, because sitting there in the rental house for 6 months, you know, without my tools and without projects, I
That's
eventually
rough.
realized that would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
So I've finally figured out how to get that set up. So I'll just talk about some of the projects that I'm going to do, and they do involve 3D printing and 3D design. I've been reading this book that was recently published about cattle movements on the Santa Fe Railroad, and one of the neat designs that they had in that book, in the blueprints section, was they had a drover caboose. Now, these cattle trains, when they would run the cattle, they would often have a drover caboose, which was designed to accommodate not only the crew personnel of the train, but also the cowboys or the livestock
Right,
owners,
right.
as they would accompany the cattle to market. So they would have facilities to seat them during the day, bunks for the night, that kind of thing. And so because these are so specialized, they haven't been modeled really in plastic NHL scale. I've seen the occasional brass model out there, but I'd like to design a drover caboose in 3D and try and print that, and run that with my Intermountain cattle car train.
There you go.
That'll haul behind my 282 or whatever other locomotive. So I have this all planned out that it'll be a consist that all goes together. Although, arrow-wise, I'm all over the place, but at least this will be coherent. So the other project I've been thinking about doing, and I have this guy here again, the neighborhood trolley from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and I figured we could always use a mood booster around here, especially in these times. But the neighborhood trolley is one of those models that I've made, and folks have come up to me and said, "Can you make me one?" And I'm like, I don't know really how to answer them, because this thing has brass sides, it has styrene, a lot of custom cuts.
Right, right.
Just the base models alone, ran a couple $100, and you're talking about $1,000 model before it's said and done.
Right.
And that's not practical for a lot of people that just want a neighborhood trolley. So I thought, why don't I do a 3D model? That way, for the price of the Bachmann plus whatever nominal addition, I can make the 3D trolley shell to fit onto the Bachmann chassis, and accommodate the space for the decoder.
Is this going to
and
be
everything
available
else.
to people to buy?
That's the idea. That I'll make this
That's
available.
what Campbell Rice surprised
Yeah.
me with last week, is he started a
Yeah.
model building company,
Yeah.
and those cabooses,
Yeah.
to my surprise, I mean, did you see the readers' comments?
Yeah.
How many people want one of those?
Yeah.
One guy
that
wanted
caboose
5
came
of
out
those.
Very nice, yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. I wish Campbell all the best. So
So-
now you're going to offer the neighborhood trolley.
That's my goal, to try and design that, and the beauty of 3D design is of course you can take it anywhere that you can bring your laptop.
Right.
So it's very workshop independent.
cool.
Listen to all these people at the table starting model companies.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I have the organizational skills to do it, but there's been enough requests that I'd like to help.
Believe
people
me,
out
we have
in
enough
area.
contacts. We can help
Yeah.
you with anything you need.
So then the other, the other project I've been thinking about, and this is where I'll talk a little bit about this upcoming issue of Model Railroad Hobbyist. In the electronics impulse section, they actually build this month a programming station that uses a Sprague programmer and
Okay.
JMRI to actually program locomotives on a desktop. That's totally transportable. You can remove it from your desktop, put
Right.
it in storage as needed. And the advantage is that with this programming station, you can mount your ESU lock programmer or whatever other proprietary programmer that you need to program your trains, and you can even use a Backrus speedometer to make it a speed matching station all in one.
Wow.
Like within about a 2-foot width, or whatever the length of your longest locomotive is. So that's an intriguing project that I'd also like to try and embark on in these next few months, to build this programming station. It's a fascinating idea that just instead of having everything in one room with your layout and your workbench and everything else, how many people really operate that way?
True.
And you can just have it at your desk, have it conveniently there, or take it on the road with you if you're wanting to program at a show or at a meet or something like that. So it just seemed like too neat an idea to not try.
All right, I got a question about the trolley project. So you're going to do this in HO scale.
Yeah.
But because you've designed this in CAD, it would just be a couple clicks of a button where you could make one in O scale, right?
Theoretically, you could scale it up to whatever up
As
or
long as there
down.
was a frame to fit it.
Right.
That's the thing. The various models that we've got from Bachmann 3-rail, I've got one in mind here, is a Santa Claus, whatever this thing is.
Yeah,
Bachmann
that-
offers.
That could definitely
This
fit
could
a trolley
possibly-
onto that.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's
So,
various things.
ruin
You could,
that
you
nice
could
model.
scale it up or down, or some of those people that are constantly wanting us to do N scale stuff. Theoretically, if you can find a chassis for it, you can do an
Right.
N scale
Well, think
model
about
for it.
G scale and the little eggs that you have for Easter.
The egg
that
liners,
you-
yeah.
Egg liners, yeah.
That'd be perfect for a G
Be
scale.
careful.
Yeah.
You might get what you wish here.
That's right. That's right.
This is amazing. And you could print a G scale model in that bigger printer, couldn't you? Probably. What's the dimensions?
I would have to. I would
Do the
yeah,
math.
That
Do
would
the
have to
math.
be one
Yeah.
of those, where
Ones that go at an angle.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Wow, this is great. I haven't poked you once with this pencil
I
yet.
know. I got my pencil.
Right.
What show was it that we had the one of the directors of Mr. Rogers, Paul
Yeah, no-
Lawley, on?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was November, I think, 2019.
169 or
That was
no,
such a great show,
69,
guys. If you want to
Yeah.
see a really good
Saw it.
show,
Yeah,
Recently, I saw
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
memories.
that was a lot of fun with Paul Lawley that
Yep.
time.
that was fantastic. Coming up on 21 minutes, I've got a segment, but Joshua, you had some notes written down. Did you want to talk about?
So I wanted to first talk about the Model Railroad Hobbyist is coming out. Should be in the next couple
October?
days of October, and that
Okay.
we were at the RPM meet, and I had so much fun at the RPM meet. But one of the big things that I always look forward to at the RPM meet is to see Spring Creek there, because they have such a wide array of all kinds of different stuff.
Right.
Shirts.
So
I got these
what-
shirts there.
Yeah. So what I did was I wrote down all the places that Spring Creek is going to be for the rest of the year. So I have their complete
Nice.
show schedule.
Okay.
So there's only 4, and I'd like to go over them.
Okay.
The first one is going to be at the Beatrice Arena Railroad Enthusiasts
Okay.
meet, and that's October 23rd and 24th in Beatrice, Nebraska. And then the Mid-Continent prototype modelers meet. That's in Benton, Kansas.
Yeah, you know what? I think I may try and go to that meet. Because
you're gonna be out visiting your parents.
Nice.
Yeah, my sister lives not 10 miles away from Benton.
Wow,
so
man.
Okay.
Sounds like
Yeah,
a
that's
plan.
place
great.
to stay. Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the biggest little RPM meet in the
That's kind of cool.
in America
Yeah.
is I think what they call it. But
I've
it's-
only been to ours,
Yeah.
so I'd like to go. I
Right,
know there's one in
right.
Naperville too, and I'd like to go to a couple other ones.
Yeah.
So the next one is in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and that's Rails Along the Rio Grande. That's November 20th and 21st. And then the last one is Oklahoma City Train Show in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and that's the 4th and the 5th of November. Or December, I'm sorry.
Now, if I could just add one thing about Spring Creek Hobbies that just blew my mind.
What?
They have a lot of, they have a lot of different independent 3D modelers that in fact do market through them.
Okay.
Like in fact, when you guys went out to Deschler, I had you pick up some of these ammonia tanks. You know, these ammonia.
right.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
got those
right.
for him. I
Yeah,
remember
Yeah,
that.
you
Yes.
got them for me then, and so they're marketed exclusively through Spring Creek, 3D printed. But at this RPM meet, they had elevators, green elevators.
Oh, very cool.
Now, unlike most model elevators I've seen in HO scale, these things had the height. These things had the scale 100-foot tower plus.
Wow, yeah.
You know that you see for the poured slip form concrete elevator towers. You know, just really impressive 3D printed models. So I got to hand it to Spring Creek for carrying a lot of variety of stuff that you just don't see in other places.
I'm going to show the outside of the store with the entire crew standing outside. They sent me some pictures this week, and I thought the building itself would be a cool model. Check out this shot with all the cars parked on the bricks street.
Yeah, that's
it's
pretty
the
neat.
old-fashioned brick streets that we used to
Yeah.
have here in St. Louis. The inside of the store is absolutely beautiful. I've shown a lot of video of it, but this week they supplied us with some photographs to show of some of the customers and just the inside of the store. Thank you so much, Mike, for the photographs. Also, you know what? Our buddy Denny Yelsma is going to be here in November, and he
Oh,
sent us
yeah.
some different articles with what's neat swag on it, with our logo
Nice.
on it. And I think this is something for your waistline.
Yeah, it's a fanny pack.
Yeah.
And I was going to give Tyler this, but he might be too embarrassed to take a what's neat shaving
shaving
to
kit.
college
Yeah,
to
that's
Rolla.
very
There you go.
But then he sent us that.
Oh, very
And he also sent
nice.
us a backpack, but it's too small for all of Anna's books. She carries so much more stuff to school. But I
Well,
couldn't
next-
quite convince
next time-
Anna to take a what's neat this
Well,
week
you know,
backpack
next time you go
school.
to a train show, you got your bag right there with
Right.
what's neat this week.
Yeah.
No, the next time you go to a train show.
Ah, this
Yeah,
is fine. This is Eagle Crest. This
So
is
thank
really
you,
nice
Denny.
stuff.
These are
Yeah.
just some items that he had laying in
Yeah.
the warehouse, and he wanted to print them up for us and give them to us. This week, Denny wanted me to talk about the letter U. And James, you wanted me to open up the show with that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm catching screen capture right now of the letter U on yelsma.com. And like I said, Danny's going to be here in November, and the first railroad is the Union Railroad. But you're going to see a lot of logos here for the Union Pacific. There's quite a lot of big boys. The 844 locomotive. Here's the E units, the city of San Francisco, A and B units, EMDs. But you got really excited about some of these colorful paint schemes.
Yeah, those heritage units. You got the Olympic torch units. A lot of neat Union Pacific, different Union Pacific schemes that they've had over the years.
Right, the spirit of the Union Pacific. Let me show you a photograph of that one we did for Athearn while I interrupt this screen roll. This is a shot of the spirit of Union Pacific on a bridge in the backyard. This is a bridge made by our buddies out in California
Yeah.
from Central Valley. This is the double track bridge. I love that bridge for doing shots because I can get the camera right into the side and then shoot the locomotive, and that's the Mississippi River in the background. In fact, I just showed you 2 photographs of that. That's fun. I love doing shots like that. Back to the stitched patterns that Denny offers us. Of course, the Union Pacific Big Boy coming here out of the tunnel. George Bush 41. You got that. You got that model.
Yeah.
Union Pacific E-units. All of these can be put on a jacket. These can be put on a shirt. They can be put on any type of the garments that you see at yelsma.com, at Yelsma Graphics.
Oh, that's neat.
Here's the 40, the big boy, 4014.
Yeah, I tell you, I love my apron with my little logo on it.
Is that right?
Keeps my shirts clean while I'm working on the layout.
Union Pacific, the Overland Route.
Oh, yeah.
DD40Xs.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Oh, I love these things. The U50Cs, I've got some of those on the shelf here. I'm interrupting the B-roll for that. I love running those models, and I've got videotape of those models running outside, which I'm probably showing on the screen right now. Athearn models are just amazing in sunlight, and those U50s are some of my favorite locomotives because they're so unique looking.
Aren't they referred to as U-boats?
Yes.
And then we've got the turbines. The
Yeah.
veranda turbine, which I know
Yeah.
Athearn's coming out with this again. New veranda turbine. Here's those, oh my God, look at this, the full blow.
blow,
The
yeah.
big blow
The
that
big blow
Scale
turbine.
Trains came out with.
Yeah.
Beautiful model from them. So Denny makes, again, all of these wonderful graphics. Here comes the ones you guys liked.
Oh,
The
yeah, the
heritage
heritage
units.
You can
units
see them right there on
there
that
it
screen
is.
up there. Check them
They
out.
are very,
yeah.
very cool.
There it is, the
Yep.
Missouri Pacific. I had one of those. I loved it, the Rio
Screaming
Grande.
Eagle on there.
I know, isn't that's something? Just absolutely amazing. Some of these
Haiti.
are hundreds of thousands of stitches. So check them out at yelsma.com. Denny is going to be here, like I said, in a couple of weeks, and we look forward to that. Coming up on 28 minutes, the show's going to go a little over because I'm going to do a segment now on photography. You guys enjoyed the segment we did with the snow throwing machine last
Absolutely.
week.
Oh, yeah.
And I also talked about, what was the other subject I talked about last week?
You did the bridges last week.
That's right. Those bridges. That was the Wathers Swing Bridge and the Lift Bridge.
And the port you did before was amazing too. The small port with the crane.
I've got so many slides back there that I thought, why don't I start dipping in some of the past that I've got? I've got so much material that we could cover on the show and make it interesting. Of course, I'm scanning 37 slides into the computer. But tonight I'm going to talk about a photo shoot that you all have seen, and that is the Bachmann Acela locomotive, where I had to model a stretch of the Northeast Corridor. And this was really fun because I used prototype photos in the library of books that I've got in order to pull this one off, make it prototypically accurate, put a super elevation into the curve on this shot. And I'm going to show you, these photographs are actually shots of the diorama that wasn't finished yet. So as you look at all the catenary, it's not completed yet. It's in fact brass stock because I was doing test shots so that I would know as I designed the catenary what would appear in the shot and what wouldn't. So I'm showing you various slides of this. Now this Acela, I put MV lenses in it. Just to get the reflection of light off the front of the locomotive, and I think that was an added flavor to it. There's my neighbor's barbecue grill in the background. That's in so many photographs. You guys see that fence. And also I'm going to show you the overall diorama that I did set up out here out in the open. And one thing that I did on this project was after I got done photographing it, I crated it all up and sent it to Bachmann so they could have a trade show display, because after all that time, I didn't want it just sitting in my garage getting destroyed. So here's a shot of a crate that I built for this. It's just part of the job. I've got 3 photographs that I'm going to show you. And wood building and my wood shop is another specialty that I've got. So it lent itself well to making sure that this model got to Philadelphia quite safe. Now another photo shoot I did of this was, we were going to put this on the cover, I think it was Hobby Merchandiser magazine. And when you do a cover photo like that, it's one thing to do box art for the model and do an article. I know this ran in Rail Model Journal as an article, or Mainline Modeler as an article, because back then I was writing for all the publications with the photographs, the final photos. In fact, let me show you some of the final photos. I know I've got them in the computer. The one mistake I made was I put a grade crossing. There's no grade crossings on the Acela route, but in my photographs, in my make-believe Wonderland,
right.
there
There
was.
are.
Actually, I think I remember there being a car vehicle accident with the Acela at some point.
Okay.
It's been a very long time ago. I think at least 20 years ago by now. But
So now what I'm going to show you is the shots that I did. I shot this on the Midwest Valley Modelers layout on the Switchyard module. And this was going to be an indoor photograph where I had just built this elaborate large building. I'm showing you slides of this building right now where I took multiple Wathers warehouses and made a great big building on the layout. And I lit it all up with lots of Christmas tree lights so the building would light up. I then took a light and I bounced the light off 20 feet away off of the model so that the Acela model would be reflected. And this shot was going to be in the dark, completely lit up. And I will show you some of the outtakes of that photo shoot right now. Just various images that I've got that I'm probably scanning and putting in the computer. Some of them have got one Acela model in them. Some of them have 2 in them. I was trying various types of shots in order to just get the photograph right. But again, it was so much fun. These photos were back in the year 2000 that I did these. And these, again, ran on the cover of Hobby Merchandiser magazine. I just love doing photos like that. I enjoy the artistry of our hobby. Like I mentioned in the previous show,
And
this is an art.
This was well before digital, so you didn't have a...
No Photoshop.
Okay, and no darkroom, so you had to send the way to Kodak or
My wife would run the
Walgreens.
slides downtown for me on her way down to TWA to work downtown, and then 3 days later I would get them back. So it took 3 days to find out if I need to do a test shoot again or not.
I remember those days.
Though back then it could take you a week just to get one photograph approved. Now it's literally 1 hour service where I've got the shots set up outside digitally. I'll email them to Bachman or email them to Athern or whoever I'm doing the photos for at the time. What do you guys think? What should I change? When we did the latest Bachman catalog cover of the great big Dash 9 outside, they chose for me to do a desert scene with that shot. Well, I tried a lot of different things. Michelle was here helping me with that one at the time, suggesting I should go with some green scenery. So I tried some of that. I tried the desert scenery. We had our friend from ZXY Creative actually print me out some 3D cactuses in large scale that I used in this photo, which then turned out to be the final shot for the latest Walther's catalog. So it's just so much fun. The artistry, I enjoy the art of photography and creating models in this hobby just as much as I do video editing, just as much as I do running trains, all those wonderful things. It's just another facet of the hobby. When you've got all those different things that you're interested in, you don't get bored.
Right.
It's always something new every week. And it's a wonderful thing, and I enjoy that part of our hobby. As I stop the screen capture, because I didn't earlier.
No, well, that comes out in the edit.
So we're at 33 minutes, guys. It looks like we're rolling to the end on this one. Let's go around the table one more time and see if we've got everything covered on this show, because I think that's all the slides and everything else.
Hey, Mark Stafford contacted us about that steam throttle that we showed last weekend.
Yeah.
He wants
yeah.
to make sure that everybody knows he's not giving them away for free. What he meant was,
I asked him for 10, so geez, that sucks.
but he's got the intellectual rights to it or whatever. He would like to work with a manufacturer, even give it to a manufacturer or something
Nice.
to make it available to the masses if people are interested.
That's awesome. It's a pretty neat. It's a
Yeah,
neat
it's
design. He should send up some photographs of it on an upcoming show. We will show it off.
Absolutely.
And show what it's all about.
I would love
It is
to
kind
see
of
it,
cool.
Yeah.
So guys, we're going to take our NCE hammerhead throttle and the smaller throttle, and we've got some trains on. In fact, the cat down here knocked over all the trains. Did you see him back by the
saw
washer and
that.
dryer?
Like a windstorm in
Right,
Kansas.
tornado
knocked
damage.
over a big old.
That's right.
Every one of those tangent boxcars is laying on its side.
I ordered some more of those.
I saw Tangent's coming out with another run of
Kansas
those.
coming out with
Yeah.
another run.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got Missouri Pacific
They
and
have a-
Penn Central coming.
They have a Santa
Nice.
Fe shock control one as well.
Yeah.
Right, and I saw that they're coming out with Santa Fe. In fact, I called Redboard Hobbies because I'm in a hurry to get that one. But I'm going to get a hold of Spring Creek on that and see if I can get some Missouri Pacifics from them.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that's going to be a beautiful run. I love my
Right.
CSXs that we got. It's hard to end the show when we just keep going because
I
there's
know.
so much
So
going
much to
Going
talk
and
about, yeah.
going.
I can say that What's Neat This Week has been brought to you by the letter U.
That's right.
All right, guys, best hobby in the world with some of the best people in it. This was a good show. It's a feel-good show, and I love doing this one tonight, guys. So with that said, let's go run some trains.
All right.
See you later.
Rock and roll. That
was
felt
great.
good.
Good.
Great, man.
Whew. Now, let's do that thumbnail shot. Everybody look positive and show them some teeth, right? You got this? And that should take care of that.
You ready?
You don't have to take a picture.
No, we're
I
good.
pull it right out of the video,
yeah.
buddy. So with that, you leave the cameras running. I'm going to kill sound on the computer. You guys did a great job tonight. Thank you.
You did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
Well, sir. Feedback. That's when you put the microphone too close to the headphone.
All right.